Okay. Ugh. Oh, fuck. It's really bright when I have all these lights on me, and then you click that right in front of my face.
You deserve it.
Yeah. Well, hey, everybody. I'm Hank B. This is
Josh T.
And we are R2cents Media.
Media.
That was actually a pretty good one this time. I liked it. Yeah. Okay, so we know it's been a while, but we're going to come back in with some more reviews. We know the movie's been out a while, but we wanted to give our 2 cents on Morbuis. It came out this year, 2022, but it was a long talked about film, and it has an approximate runtime of 1 hour and 44 minutes. How did you feel about the movie?
I liked it with a little bit of things I didn't like, but what movies aren't like that nowadays?
That is true. It's always something that you can not like in a film.
Yeah. Do you want me to express what I didn't like?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Wasn't sure how you wanted to start this one.
No, that's fine.
But the movie played out pretty well. I liked the slow build up.
Oh, see, I hated that slow.
Really?
I felt it was just too slow.
It builds character to the movie, I think. And it
Yeah,
builds
but
character to the characters, but then it kind of did make everything kind of splash into one fast thing at the end. You know, it was slow build up, fast, ending.
Okay.
But one of the things that bugged me was the trailing effect. Whenever he would turn into his form, he has like this black, dusty trailing effect that follows him everywhere. It just, I don't know, I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Better than glitter vampires.
I mean, that's what it should have been. I mean, it's just like if you just imagine like the fucking neon cat jumping across and building the building. That's what it reminded me of.
I can get what you're saying about the slow pacing, and I think if this was not Morbius and just a vampire movie, I would have liked it more. The slow pacing would have made sense. But because it was Morbius and it's supposed to be a movie that's not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but attached to Spider-Man and Venom, it's supposed to be part of the Spider-Man Venom Cinematic Universe. For a superhero movie, it was really slow paced.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think another great movie that was slow paced. I would think that I'd kind of compare it to is Iron Man, but the original Iron Man was so well done at the pace, like it's hard to compete with it.
And also with the original Iron Man, you had action, pace, action, pace.
True.
You did have the Morse code of action going on through.
Yeah, that is true.
So, go ahead.
But it's.
How did you feel Jared Leto did in the role?
I think he killed it.
Actually, I agree.
I think a lot of people bashed on the movie a little too hard when he, I think, held the movie together. Jared Leto does really good work wherever he goes, but I think the movie could have been written better.
I agree with that. When in regards to Jared Leto, I personally, I find him to be a hit or miss actor. I like some of the stuff he does. I don't like some of the stuff he does. But I feel that he, like some of the other actors, and I'm going to say Jim Carrey, and I'm going to also say Joaquin Phoenix, they're willing to try a role. They're willing to be weird with the role, try to make the role their own, and do it in a way that's not mainstream. And they try to bring more out of the characters that they're given, and just sometimes that just doesn't come off because it's not what we intend to see. Like we as the general mass are not expecting it.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the genius of Leto, but part of the flaw of Leto.
Yeah.
He's willing to break the
He
bonds.
does put his all into his roles.
And he's willing to try to take that role beyond what you're expecting to see. I mean, like Joker. Nobody thought he was going to play the Joker in Suicide Squad that way. And I don't even think that was really Joker. I mean, that's a whole different debate about the whole Jason Todd thing. But, the way he did it, it's like, what the hell? Like, that's not the Joker. But again, he's trying to take a role. He's trying to change it up. He's trying to do something different with it.
Yeah, he's trying to create his own character with it.
So I hope he keeps getting parts. I would like to see him grow more as an actor.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So I actually have a card, so you might see me look down a little bit. So I mean, there's other problems with the movie. I picked out the friend early on. Like, it was pretty obvious who the actual bad guy was going to be. The other problem is like just because the woman died in the hospital, all of a sudden he's in prison. They don't really explain how all of a sudden he's just in prison just because a nurse was dead. I mean, if it's a clinic, if it's a hospital or something, I'm sure there's plenty of nurses and doctors that are working at the time. So why is he the one that's in prison? It was like the cops were out to get him for no real evidence. At least that's how it looked to me.
You talking about Leto, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about Morbuis, the movie where...
Well, what I picked up is that they were doing detective work on him before the nurse died. So they sent in because the boat, it was an offshore kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
They researched that the lady was with him that they found.
But did they have actually a connection to him? Like, again, I feel like all the shit's a little shaky. Just all of it's a little shaky. Like, because there's no concrete thing that connects him. Yeah, I mean, at least not with the speed at which they were doing it. Because if you're going to research who bought the medical supplies, research the science being done, I mean, it's going to take like 2-3 weeks before you get back. But they were like, that night, they were like, okay, we got to go get Leto.
Well, I guess in a fair argument that, on the ship, they seen that bodies were drained of blood.
Right.
And then the nurse... That was another complaint, is that his building bodies were drained of blood.
But again,
so
why...
then they were like, let's act on this.
Yeah, but again, they automatically went to him. No other suspects. And the fact that it's drained of blood. Again, this kind of goes with because they have not established this movie's place within the Spider-Man cinematic universe. It's like, are there powered individuals? Are there other heroes and villains and things like that? It was like they just because the bodies were drained of blood, they automatically went to him and arrested him. Well, he's the renowned scientist. I'm not saying he was at fault and we know he killed some of those bodies, but you went to the renowned scientist and went after him instead of like doing research on everybody that's affiliated with him. You didn't go after the orderlies. You didn't go after the morticians. You didn't go after the undertakers that would actually legitimately drain a body of blood. I'm just saying. It just seemed like they were just like, we're going right for that guy. It just felt a little forced that they automatically went right for that guy.
I see what you're saying.
It just felt weird that they were just like, regardless of everything else, he was the bad guy. They were going to arrest him.
They just knew.
They just knew. They just somehow knew. Yeah, there was like no real evidence.
Who are you with on that ship? I don't know.
There was hundreds of people that are connected with the boat, and they're like, "Yep, we're your boss." Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I mean, that was just a little story. I mean, again, with the hour 44 and the pacing, I think that they were trying to not slow it down any further, but it still was a little okay.
Yeah, you almost make people fall asleep at the beginning, but then speed it up at the end.
Oh yeah, okay. Just reminded myself of my note here. Yeah, like this is what I was talking about how you don't know which powers they are. Like after they come for him, the police see like this impossible jump, and they're like, okay, yeah, people do that. It's like you just saw inhuman powers being used, and you're just like, yeah, we're good. I'd have been shitting bricks. I've lost it.
Yeah.
It just
watch someone jump 40 stories high.
So I think a little bit more establishment of if it actually is part of it and what we've seen out there. I mean, it took like 45, 50 minutes before he actually really became the vampire. I feel that's too long.
The trailing effect still bugs me.
That's fair.
All I think about when I think about Morbius is that dark trailing effect. It's like, stop it.
So would you watch a Morbius 2?
I mean, I would, just to see if the story improved, and like I said, Jared Leto's a good actor, so I'd watch it just to see how he does with it and the stupid trailing effect that they would have for the second one. But I would, yeah.
Morbius. Well, I think the trailing effect comes from the comics. I think that's how they always portrayed it, kind of in the comics. Morbius is an interesting character because he does toe the line between sometimes villain, sometimes hero type thing. He's been was a nemesis, I believe, for Spider-Man for a long time, and then turned out to be an ally. I believe he joined the Night Stalkers, but there was another vampire that was also on the Night Stalkers. That was a a cult team for Marvel when they did their Midnight Suns run, where they were like, we're gonna have Ghost Rider was part of it, and Blade teamed up with a vampire, and these other people was this group called Night Stalkers. It was actually an interesting thing going on. The only reason I kind of mention that is they've kind of hinted at maybe trying to do something in the Marvel Cinematic Universe related to that as well. Don't know if a TV show or what, but I've heard rumors. So, but yeah. So, how many cents would you give it? You know, we're bringing in the 1 through 10 scale.
Out of 10, I would say like a 5.5. 5. We'll go 5. I'll give it a halfer. It halfway captivated me.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give it a nickel.
I think I'll actually give it 6 cents. Simply, I'm going to give it a little bit of leeway since it's kind of a setup. It's kind of a setup show. Even though there was a couple things I felt was wrong, there was also a lot of stuff that I felt was interesting. So I'm willing to give it a 6 because, like you, I'd also would be interested in seeing a Morbius too,
with less trailing effect.
So that's our 2 cents. We want to hear your 2 cents. I believe you'll be putting the email address down below if you haven't already. Once we get you to wake up a little bit, he's got kids. So let us know if you disagree with us. We'd love to hear it. So what would you think if they changed Morbius's hair?
Like cut it down.
Yeah, maybe.
Chop it off.